All right. So you have sat down and you talked to somebody. You spent some time with some folks that own some land. What do you do next? You got to go and find the land. But before you can do that, or even waste your time doing that, you need the money. The money. And this is what we're going to talk about in this video. And if you know anybody that's purchasing land or interested in purchasing land, share this video with them so they can understand exactly what they're getting into. All right, so let's get into it. Can you purchase now I'm just talking about cash. I'm not talking about, because I personally don't believe that you should be purchasing property on credit. If you want to do it, hey, if you know that you can pay it off, I'm just speaking from a perspective of what I've done was I paid cash and I had it paid off in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Owing the finance, I had the cash up front, but I paid it off in 6 months. So I'm just speaking from that perspective. You can come in, you got some cash, you know what I'm saying, and you can buy some land. What can you afford? An acre, a half an acre, hey, at the end of the day, it's yours, right? But if you can afford, get what you can afford. And not only just from the perspective of land, but what you can put on that land in your 6-year, 5-year game plan when it comes to that land development. Where do you want to be? So like anything, I come from a project management background, so I always plan, where do I want to be? What do I want to have this done by year 5? And I'm on year 6 now, and there's certain things that I want to get done that I'm doing right now, that I'm working on doing it right now, because they just need to get done. I.e. ripping out all the old plumbing and putting in all new plumbing lines. You see what I'm saying? So that's a perfect example right there. But that costs money. It costs money, it costs time, effort, energy, resources. So you're going to need to be able to write that check, as I say. Don't go in and buy something that you can't afford, that you can't develop, that you don't have the skill set or not willing to develop the skill set to learn how to do yourself. It's just setting yourself up for failure. Start if all you can afford is some raw land, and you clear out a couple of trees, and you put a old little beat up travel trailer on that thing, a little mobile home, you know what I'm saying, on that thing, a little RV, and people have done that, and they got their family living there, and hey man, and if that's what they can afford, if you can afford some land with a double wide on it, you fix the double wide up. That's what I could afford. If you can afford to go out and buy something that's already established and stuff, great. That's what you can afford. If you can go and have, money and the resources and the human capital to develop a piece of, 30, 40, 50 acres, go ahead and do that. At the end of the day, do what's in your budget and in your ability to do. You see? Because I've run into folks over the year where, they bought some land and they didn't know what they were doing, or they did not count the cost, and as a direct result, they're back in the city. I even saw a video of City Prepper. He got 1 million subscribers and and he moved back to the city. It's shocking. But, it's one thing to romanticize about a picture on Facebook that you've seen on your live feed or YouTube video of a nice little beautiful little cabin, and it got a nice beautiful wood stove, and it has a nice beautiful garden outside, and it's sitting on the lake, and it looks real sexy, and it looks real, and people fall in love, and this is what, instead of living here, I'm gonna live, instead of being in the city, I'd rather be in the country in my peace as opposed to in the city and chaos. And you got these two pictures side by side, but they don't see all the work that goes into maintaining, developing, and living that kind of lifestyle. People ain't really serious about moving. And I'll do another video on that. But the idea is that It takes time, energy, effort, money, resources, skill, labor, hands. It takes all these things. And again, it's great to be, God led or Yah led or whatever you want to call it, Muhammad led or whatever, to come out and do this thing. But you just got to consider the cost. Consider how much it's going to cost you and work within your budget. And take it in consideration. Do you want a pasture? Do you want fencing? Do you want to raise livestock? Do you want to raise raised beds? What are the best kind of raised beds? How much that's going to cost? Can you put it together? If you're going to move into a double wide or a single wide, can you fix it up? If you're going to build a concrete fortress, how are you going to do it? Do you have the resources, the time, the skill set to do it? It's all about them Benjamins. And so if you can't do it, if you don't have the resources to do it, stick within your realm. Or I'm going to talk about that as well. Combining resources with others. Because this is the only way it's going to work. It's a sad thing to see somebody go out and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of their own hard work money, busting a mediocre job out in the country. And it ain't even that hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's tens of thousands. I've heard people doing, forklift jobs, Walmart, Dollar General jobs, basically low wage jobs, you know what I'm saying? And just to turn around and do all of that, and fail and have to move back, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't get none of that money back, I've seen stories. I know people that have done this thing and they back in the city. So know what you're doing, consider the cost, and don't get in over your head. Don't do it. I'm telling you, man, it's just a disaster to see long term. All right, shalom.